What if the person you loved wasn't who you thought they were at all? What if the perfect marriage you built was stitched together with lies and obsession? This is the story of how I uncovered my wife's dark secret, and how that discovery nearly tore everything apart. My name is Daniel. I thought I had it all. A beautiful wife, a curious daughter, a cozy home with creaky floorboards and messy morning pancakes. Life wasn't perfect, but it felt real. Until I learned that the woman I married wasn't just hiding something from me. She was hiding herself. Bailey and I met 6 years ago. She was kind, funny, effortlessly charming. We married within a year. Our daughter Hope came 2 years later. I thought she was the missing piece. Bailey doted on her, and we became that Instagram-worthy little family you see in coffee commercials. But there was always something off. Sometimes Bailey would ask strange questions about my past, not the casual, "who was your high school crush" kind of stuff. More like, "Do you still think about her?" I assumed she meant Elena, my ex from college, my first real heartbreak. I'd moved on, obviously. At least, I thought I had. One day, while Bailey was out grocery shopping, I was looking for Hope's favorite stuffed bunny. I opened Bailey's closet to check if it had fallen behind a shelf. That's when I saw it. A small, battered shoebox, hidden under a stack of winter scarves. I wasn't snooping, but something about it felt secretive. I pulled it out. Inside were dozens of photos, but they weren't of us. They were of Elena, pictures from Facebook, old printed ones I hadn't seen in years. Photos of her at the beach, at her graduation, smiling with friends I hadn't talked to since college. It was like a shrine, and tucked underneath those pictures were snapshots of Bailey, wearing the same clothes, mimicking the same poses, even the same haircut. My stomach turned. This wasn't about jealousy. This was something else, something darker. I stared at a side-by-side comparison. Elena wearing a red scarf in Central Park, and Bailey, years later, wearing a nearly identical scarf in the same exact spot. This wasn't coincidence. This was obsession. When Bailey got home, I was sitting at the kitchen table with the box. She froze. For a long moment, she didn't even try to make up a lie. Then her shoulders dropped, and she whispered, "I was going to tell you." Eventually. We sat for hours that night. Bailey told me everything. Back when we met, she knew who I was. She had followed me online. She saw photos of me and Elena back in college. She said she had never seen anyone look at someone the way I looked at Elena. And she wanted that. For herself. So she reinvented her entire identity to become the kind of woman she thought I'd love. It wasn't just about copying Elena's look. It was about replacing her. "I thought if I could become her, you'd never leave me," she said, crying into her hands. I was speechless. This wasn't infidelity. It was psychological warfare. It felt like I had fallen in love with an illusion. For days I couldn't sleep. I didn't know what was real anymore. Every memory felt tainted. Did Bailey ever love me? Or was I just a stand-in for some fantasy? I moved into the guest room. I needed space to think. Hope kept asking why Daddy wasn't reading bedtime stories anymore. I couldn't even look her in the eye without feeling like a fraud. But slowly, clarity came. This woman, for all her deception, had also built a life with me. She was there when Hope took her first steps. She held me through my father's funeral. She kissed me on the forehead when I was sick and danced with me in the kitchen when we burned the pancakes. Was she perfect? Number. Was what she did horrifying? Yes. But was she a monster? I wasn't so sure. Bailey started therapy on her own. She never begged me to stay, never manipulated. She just admitted she needed help. For the first time in years, I saw the real her, not the curated version she thought I wanted. One night, she knocked on the guest room door. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said, "but I'm trying to figure out who I am without pretending, for you, for Hope, for me." That night, I didn't go back to our room, but I did hold her hand. For the first time in weeks, it felt like we were facing the truth, together. Therapy became a regular thing, for both of us. We started couples counseling. We talked about the ugly stuff, the hard stuff, the things most couples sweep under the rug. And we didn't rush back into normal. We rebuilt slowly. We set boundaries. We cried. We argued. But we also laughed again. We found new traditions that weren't borrowed from anyone else's past. and Bailey started figuring out who she really was, beyond Elena, beyond the mask. Hope is only 4. She doesn't know what happened between us. All she sees is that mommy and daddy are spending more time together again, reading bedtime stories, going on park picnics, dancing during dinner cleanup. She once asked Bailey why she changed her hair. Bailey knelt down and said, "Because I want to look like me." Hope smiled and said, "You already do." Sometimes people ask me if I've truly forgiven Bailey. The truth? Forgiveness isn't a one-time event. It's a process. Some days it's easier than others. But love, real love, isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about choosing someone, flaws and all, and deciding whether they're worth fighting for. Bailey's deception nearly destroyed us, but her willingness to face it saved us. And I've learned that healing isn't about forgetting the past. It's about learning from it. If you take anything from this story, let it be this. You can't build love on lies, but sometimes, if both people are willing to tear down the illusion and rebuild from scratch, you might find something real underneath the rubble.